So this thing came actually a week early. This is the A7IV. I wasn't really expecting it this week, but I replaced the A7 III, and I wanted this as a B cam to my FX6, and I want to explain the reasons why this is actually better than the FX6. But hold on a second, before you jump in the comments and start, voicing your opinions, I just want to explain why, in my particular circumstances, the A7IV is actually better than the FX6, FX3 and the A7S III. So let's get into this video. What's going on, my friends? I hope you're doing absolutely amazing today. My name's Jason. If you're new to my channel, I do a whole bunch of videos on photography, videography, tips, tricks, tutorials, and all that kind of stuff. But today we're going to be talking about the A7IV, and like I said, this is going to be my B cam. In some circumstances, it's actually going to be my A camera. But in my particular situation, this was the best camera to buy because I've got the FX6, and I want to explain the reasons why this is actually better in some circumstances than the FX6. So the first reason is actually that 33 megapixel sensor, and it's 7K downsampled to a 4K image. Now this gives you such clean, crisp image, and also gives you a much higher rated dynamic range. Now Sony D did actually their dynamic range test in their studio and tested this thing. It is incredible. The noise floor is just absolutely beautiful, which it's essentially, this means I can expose for the highlights, try and retain a lot more highlights. And then when I bring the shadows up in post, there isn't going to be as much grain as there would be in the A7S III or the FX6. So that pretty much makes this so much better and cleaner, especially in those low light situations where I need to raise those shadows, whereas the FX6 will have a bit too much noise in there. Yeah, you can clean it up in post with some denoising, that's perfectly fine, but I prefer not to do as much denoising as possible. If I do, it's just very, very small amounts just to remove a little bit of that grain. Now, another one of the reasons why this is actually better than the FX6 is that APS-C mode. Now, this is extremely, extremely crucial when you are doing wedding videography or any kind of hype reels or any type of event videography. Now, this is extremely important because your 85 lens, like this is an 85 lens that I've gone in here, if you're stuck with just that one lens and you don't actually have any other lenses, or you've got a zoom lens, that's still perfectly fine. Essentially, when you put it into APS-C crop mode, you're going to get 1.5 times that focal length. So it's a 50 mil, it makes it a 75 millimeter, which gives you just that little bit extra reach without losing pretty much any image quality in video, which is so good. Now with the A7IV, that also reduces the rolling shutter. So when you're in APS-C mode, you're no longer downsampling from 7K to 4K, so there's less processing, which means the sensor is going to have faster readout speeds, which Sony D actually did a test, and there was much, much faster readout speeds. I think it was like 13 milliseconds, which is really good. Whereas the FX6 is actually 8.7 milliseconds, which is extremely, extremely fast. I think it's the fastest sensor that they've actually tested in their studio. But this brings it down to 13 from, I think it was 28. Is that right? 28 milliseconds. I think it was 25. Was it 25 milliseconds? Whereas the R6 was actually 30 milliseconds. I think it's the worst sensor they've actually tested with rolling shutter. The R5 does, I think, 15 milliseconds. So, you bring this into APS-C mode, you got 13 milliseconds, which is just slightly better. So rolling shutter shouldn't really be an issue in APS-C mode. But the main thing is actually just getting that extra reach if you do have just a prime lens. Now, you can throw clear image zoom on top of that and get an extra 0.5 times reach. So your 85 lens will actually becomes a 170 millimeter lens, which gives you so much flexibility and so much reach if you do use clear image zoom plus APS-C mode. Okay, so I explained a situation that I was in with a commercial where I was doing a wide shot with a family around a pool, a mother and daughter. And when I had the FX6, I had it pretty far away, and it was a very bright day. I was using my monitor, and I thought I was focused on the mother and daughter, but I happened to have focused on the background, which that wide shot was, it pretty much rendered it useless. Now that sucks. But the great thing about the A7IV is you actually have focus mapping. Now, a lot of people are like, yeah, focus mapping is cool, but they don't actually understand which situation you would actually use that. And that is the exact situation that I would actually use focus mapping. Is that really wide shot where focus peaking, it kind of looks like you're focused on the subject, but kind of not. Like sometimes it is really hard when you've got the red focus peaking, whatever color, in the distance, and you've got, you know, a small screen, whatever screen you're using, but it depends on the size. But sometimes it's very difficult to actually see, and having that focus map there makes it so much easier. You can literally see exactly what is in focus. That is the best thing about that feature, the focus mapping. So I'm extremely excited if I am in that situation. Boom, this thing will come straight out and the FX6 will have to be sidelined, which is unfortunate. I love the FX6, but in that situation, A7IV absolutely kicks ass. Okay, so the last major reason, and I left this one to last because it is the biggest reason why the A7IV is actually better than the FX6, and that is actually the form factor. Now, obviously, to make the FX6 perform the absolute best, you kind of got to rig it out. And, you know, by rigging it out, I mean, I have rigged this thing out. It performs incredibly well with, you know, V-Lock batteries and everything running power off that V-Lock battery through DTAP. So I've got my monitor there. I also use the digital photo hook vest or the easy rig directly on top, so that's obviously adds a whole bunch more bulk. Sometimes I use the Thanos Pro X, which is even bigger. It's that full chest rig. It really just depends on what you actually shoot, how you shoot, what kind of ergonomics are actually important to you. But these kind of ergonomics are really important to me. But if I do actually want that option to have it as small and compact as possible, I do have that option right here. But if I really want to beef it up, especially if I don't have the FX6 on me and I want to make this perform just as good as the FX6, if not sometimes better in some circumstances, I can fully rig it out like this. This bad boy right here. I am super happy with how it's rigged out. Now I do have the A7S3 cage on here by Tilter. Just had to shave off a little bit on the little thing here with the lanyard. I had to shave that off a little bit just to adjust it, make it actually fit. But this is the A7IV fully rigged out. And I do have the option to do this. How good is that? Oh, wait, I forgot to mention this. Right here, my friends, this is the Diker Pack case. Now, this is one of the biggest reasons why I wanted a smaller camera. Now, I could have got the A7S3, could have got the FX3, whatever. This is a massive reason. So I've done a couple of water shoots where I needed to get in the water. The FX6 obviously is too big to fit in a case. So obviously, if you do get a case, it's gonna be stupidly expensive. This is literally like $100, maybe 120 bucks or something. The A7IV fits directly into this case. Now this is a full waterproof case. I've thrown the A7 III directly in here before and absolutely no issues, but I'm limited to 8-bit codec in here at 4K. Whereas I've got 10-bit color in here, so I'm gonna have such better chances of color grading, getting better footage in the water with this one as I will with the A7 III, and obviously it's not possible with the FX6. Now that is a massive reason why the A7IV is better than the FX6 in this circumstance. But anyway, my friends, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, that would be absolutely amazing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you already haven't, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.